Amsterdam is one of the greenest and most sustainable large cities in the region. Cars are vanishing from the streets in favor of the bikes. Plant pots overflow from the sidewalks. Parks practically located on every corner. However, that doesn't mean that we can't do more.
While Amsterdam municipality tries to implement sustainable projects, it doesn't have to mean that the people living here practice sustainable habits on an individual level.
As students ourselves, we decided to focus on students' issues with having a more sustainable life.
We study at the Roeterseiland campus in the center of Amsterdam. This is where we plan to host our project. Using short interviews, we looked at what sustainability is to people and what issues they face when it comes to living sustainably.
So what does sustainability mean to you?
Keeping the environment, and not just the environment, but everything around us in a way which is preservable for our future.
Keeping in mind the future.
Like meeting your own needs without compromising the needs of the future.
A long-term way of treating our planet correctly and like just having that as our lifestyle.
Recycling, using less plastic.
For me, as a student, it's quite easy. Like, we don't have a lot of money, so we cannot spend a lot of money. We have to bike anyways. We eat less meat because it's super expensive here.
Less meat.
Are you facing any issues while trying to live sustainably?
These products, all the plastic products, is like a small example, I guess.
When I go to Albert Heijn, there's like plastic wrapped around the vegetables and stuff.
Awesome.
A lot of sustainable things are kind of expensive, especially when it comes to food and stuff like that.
I think for some things it's kind of expensive, and then sometimes I guess maybe planning as well.
As a student, I'm more leaning towards less effort.
Policy.
The whole thing of like agency versus system. Like I try my hardest to do what I can personally to try and live sustainably, but it is a little bit, discouraging.
Students lack information, accessibility, and money to be able to live sustainably, and many, not only in the interviews but also in the survey we conducted prior, have reaffirmed this. Many comments were made about these issues in relation to food, such as packaging on food and unable to trace where it comes from. Because of these issues, we've come up with community gardening as a solution. We reached out to an expert who works with students on sustainability projects to discuss our ideas and how it connects to sustainable practices.
It's not only about taking care of the planet, but it's also making sure that everyone has a place in society. So everyone has a political voice, everyone has the food they need, everyone has the, etc., etc., etc.
In search of broadening our perspective and new ideas, we visited another, slightly bigger UvA campus, Science Park.
Science Park campus has a lot of greenery and even a community garden. In this garden, they focus on native wildlife and safe water drainage. While the goal of our garden may be different, the communal aspects and sustainability benefits are similar. We want to create a space at the Roeterseiland campus where students can come together and build a community around sustainable living.
Roeterseiland has many sustainability initiatives and projects, like the green roofs and the beehive that's been discontinued now, but sets a really good foundation for the projects that are to come, like ours.
To obtain more information about sustainability projects, we decided to go to Rotterdam to visit an expert that has previously launched such a project on our campus.
Okay, so on the outside of the window, below here, is a couple of things you can put your feet on.
That also helps, but you don't have to be there all the time.
We read in an article posted by the UvA about the bees that part of the goal was to find out if there's enough nectar around the area. Was there anything that was concluded for that?
Well, there was a lot of honey there. Yeah. I actually had a problem with there being too much honey at certain times, because then when the hive is too much filled with honey, they go swarm because they don't have space anymore to lay their eggs.
Just us, him, and the bee religion. So,
always wanted to start a cult. Maybe this is the beginning. It did help as part of the green policy of the UvA, for example, that we talked about it, and they ended up asking me what can we do, and then I contributed to this talk. But here it does more in a social sense. So for people living in the neighborhood, coming together around this subject. You're doing very well. It's a bit. I'm like a god. I open up the hive, I control what they do.
Would you recommend us introducing the beehive to our campus again?
It depends on the purpose that you have. Just because, unlike the wild bees, who mostly live solitary, so there's a couple of them everywhere, honeybees of course live in a hive, and if you have a hive like this, there's the peak of the season, there's 30,000 bees in it. The problem, unlike it is much talked about, it's not that the honeybees are doing bad, but it's that insects in a more broader sense, and the wild bees are doing bad. So you have to be very conscious about this, that you don't add to the problem. Do it small. Do not put more than 4 hives there, and make sure that you only do that because it's part of a bigger plan, because it's part of education, because it's part of it's a vehicle to explain people that it's really necessary to have green areas. Only in that way, I would say, you can explain, legitimate what you're doing.
Our project, like Jonathan's Beehive, aims to create an engaging way to promote sustainability to the people that has a positive environmental impact.
Our goals are to create an accessible, low-cost way to promote sustainability. A community garden is accessible because it's in a place where students are almost daily. The cost of sustainable lifestyle is one of the biggest hindrances students face when it comes to sustainability and makes sustainable living inaccessible.
Biggest troubles are now in making sure people have the time and the means to change, because change is quite hard.
In building a community around sustainability and the questioning of how sustainable habits can look like, it will further promote people to find sustainable solutions in other parts of their life. This is the first step to spreading information about living sustainably and creating a space where people can learn from one another.
Our project does face some issues in whether or not we are able to implement it at Roeterseiland. The community garden requires space, funding, organizers who are aware of the gardening practices, informing others about the project, and how harvests will be distributed among members. We have come up with a few solutions for things such as space, gaining participants, and funding.
Despite what many people may think, the Roeterseiland campus has many hidden green spaces that are not being used efficiently in our opinion. These spaces include the rooftop at the Rec building and the courtyard in between the JK building.
This courtyard is being used as a green space full of wild plants and even includes benches to sit and enjoy nature. While this is a beautiful space as it remains unused because of the unawareness of its existence. To repurpose the space as a garden would welcome more people into the space and allow it to be used frequently and productively.
UvA is a sustainability project consisting of green roofs that have grass on them. Green roofs provide many benefits, such as natural cooling and more environment for wildlife. While this is a step in the right direction, we want to be able to make better use of this space. And by transforming these green roofs into a place where we can grow crops, if the building will structurally allow it, we're able to improve upon an existing project.
But making community garden of it is using the green roof for cooling and things that it does anyway, but also to create social values, maybe do research projects or creating the opportunity to speak about other sustainable issues there, I don't know, vegan eating or something.
The crop gardens will be good for the food it provides locally and pollen source for the local bees. The garden also functions as a community building tool to further teach about sustainability. The garden would run a mix of credit system and subscription fee. Those who work to keep the garden running would gain credits for their participation. Members joining the garden for the benefit of crops, garden work and community would pay a small fee to be a part of the organization.
In an ideal world, our garden will have plenty of space for crops, and funding will be obtained through a subscription or help from the university. There will be communication with experts about urban gardening and how the logistics will play out. Hopefully, there will be an annual or biannual farmers market to spread awareness. We also plan to spread awareness through our website and Instagram page. Check it out. For those who participate, crops will be fairly divided based on activity within the garden and the community, but everyone will receive a fair compensation for their time, effort, and money spent.
The garden will work as a tool to promote sustainable habits, build a community, and improve campus life by introducing engaging activities that both students and faculty can join.
Yeah, there's a big chance you can make it work.